The number one question I hear from parents, do you have any special shoes for this sport? And I was like, yo, why don't y'all make some shoes? He was like, okay. He was like, okay, make it. I was like, what?
What's up, guys? Today's guest is the Tempest shoe designer as well as a musical artist and creative. Please welcome to the JAMCast, Yannick. What's up, man?
Yo.
Hell yes, brother. I love your name, by the way, too. I'm not going to lie. I have a lot of European friends, so I was like, is it Yannick?
It is European. It's from France, so it's from Yannick. I got it from Yannick Noah, the tennis player.
No way. And I do know a little bit just from like researching your history that you kind of grew up all over the world. You were originally born in Germany, right?
Right. So I'm a military kid. So I was raised with pretty much the whole world. So I was raised with every culture there is, like everybody, you know. So I was born in Germany, and then I moved from Germany, went to South Carolina, moved from South Carolina, went to Japan, moved from Japan, went to New Mexico, and then I went from New Mexico to Arizona to here I am now.
And now we're repping Cali, LA life.
Yeah, now we LA for life.
That's awesome, man. And now, just real quick, like, is there a spot in your mind of all those places that was your favorite growing up? Because that's like you got to see a huge disparity between all those places.
Yeah, man. Shoot, if you follow my Instagram, man, I love Japan.
Yes.
Like Tokyo is like my second home. If I wasn't living in LA, I literally would be living in Tokyo. So shout out to all my Japanese fans, all my Tokyo people. Like, my brother lives in Japan. He's been living in Japan for like 17, 18 years. So I go to Japan. I try to go to Japan as much as I possibly can.
That's crazy, man. I'd never gone there my entire life and got the opportunity in college to go 3 times in 1 year. And I basically lived there for like a whole year on someone else's dime. It was the best.
Yeah, it's incredible, man. I get a lot of inspiration going to Japan because there's a lot of total opposites compared to America, you know.
Yes.
They don't have as much of freedom as we do, but they are super clean. They are focused on what they're focused on. They do their job to perfection. They love American culture and they love everybody else's culture, especially theirs. They're in tune with their historical beliefs and they don't shy away from that. There's just certain things that I love about their culture that I would love about American culture. It's just total opposite. And that's why I love going there. It's just great to experience, you know?
Yeah, one of the things that I had heard all the things from, you know, you hear like the everyone's so happy there, even if they work at McDonald's, they're super polite, which I totally expected. I think the 3 things that stuck out to me was all the doors sliding open as opposed to opening this way. That tripped me out at first. I was like, that's pretty genius. And then secondly, the amount of people that are just like you said, they do their jobs and get their stuff done. Like I can't even explain the first time I went to the train station. Everyone just put their head down and they were just like ants walking in an army in a perfect line.
And it's crazy how intricate their subway system is. And it's like, yo, this is like, there's no other place that I've ever been to where the subway system is that intricate. Like,
correct.
You don't have to use a car. Like, it's almost like the people who have a car got money.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and you got to have like real money. I took an Uber out there and we went like 1-2 miles. That joint was like $80, bro. Yeah. I was like, oh my goodness. So I was like, I'm gonna start taking that subway, you know. But I learned the subway system really easy with the Google Maps. That really taught me how to get in and out. And yeah, man, I love it. It's different, man. It's different. I love it, man.
It's funny you say that about the cars. There was a couple times some dope rides would come up, and I was like, oh, that's a dope blacked out car. They're like, don't look that way. That's Yakuza. Don't look that way. I'm like, oh, okay.
Right, bro. I learned a whole bunch going out there, man. Like I said, man, I got a lot of friends out there, and it's just cool, man. It's just cool. That culture to me is just amazing, man. It's like I said, it's just very different from American culture, and I think we could take a lot of pointers from them, and they could take a lot of pointers from us. You know, it's just great. It's great. I love it.
I agree. I'd say one thing that kind of stuck out to me, and it was like the third most surprising thing about my first trip to Japan, was the infatuation that they have with hip-hop culture. I was back there. I got to go during the Harajuku days, and I went to Harajuku. Man, I walked out of there with like more fitted jumpsuits than I had in America. I was like, y'all got Shanjan out here, y'all got a Nietzsche. Like, it was crazy.
Yo, I'm a real huge vintage head. Like I'm a vintage guy, so I can't even get vintage here in LA. All the way to Japan to get the vintage gear. Like I went out there and got all my Tommy Hilfiger jackets. I'm like, man, this is crazy. And the cool thing about going to Japan, if you're a vintage head, is like if you're a tall guy, you might be able to get some stuff. But if you're like 5 foot, like
Speak on it.
screwed, bro. It's like, but you can get the large, extra large. You can get a 12, size 13. Well, you used to. Now it's like so overpacked that you might have to go to like Osaka or something like that. But Tokyo, yeah, man, it's like I used to go out there and just kill it, bro.
It's funny, man. I didn't even equate that till just now, but I was like, you know what? I did cop all of my jumpsuits that I couldn't find in America, and it's because I'm like 5'10". No one's 5'10" in Japan.
So rap talk. I had a friend who told me exactly why there's so much vintage there is because a lot of the shops will send somebody, somebody from their shop, they'll send them to America and let them stay in America for like a month or so. And for every bag that they fill up with vintage stuff, they give them like a certain amount of money.
Wow.
So these people come down, go to our vintage shops, put all the stuff in the bag, and then go back home. Dang. And then they get money for it.
That's genius, man. It's like legal clothes smuggling, you know? That's crazy.
And they've been doing that for years. So by the time everybody started getting on the vintage wave, which was like, as of like 2 or 3 years ago, it's like, oh, what happened to our why is this vintage stuff in LA so expensive? It's like, yo, because it's gone. Like,
for real, man.
It's gone. It's too late.
They're so advanced in so many ways. One of the things that I will never forget, and to this day I still have in my closet in pristine condition, was I got to go to 2 Bape stores. So I got some old school Bapes, bro, that are like wild colors. And I even got to go to the BBC store, and I got this hoodie that I will never throw away for the rest of my life, man.
I am a Bape head. I'm a Bape head. I don't know if you can see right back there. It's the Bape magazines. I collect Bape magazines. I resell them joints online. I'm a Bape head since I was a kid. So a lot of the Japanese stuff that you see is like, this is like nostalgia for me because I grew up remembering this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes, man. Yes,
so I remember Bape when I was a kid. I remember watching Dragon Ball Z when I was a kid. Like, that's nothing. That's not no like, yo, I'm into the hip fat. No, I grew up watching this stuff, dude. This isn't like a cool. For me, back in the days, dude, it was like nobody even knew what Bape was.
No.
Like, by the time I had left Japan, Bape just started getting cracking a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And Dragon Ball Z didn't fully hit America yet with all the seasons. Like, by the time they hit the seasons here in America, it was already past. Like, a lot of the stuff they were so advanced into Dragon Ball Z. It was like, oh, I'm watching old episodes, but at least I get to watch old episodes in English.
Yes, dubbed over.
Because I didn't know what was going on, bro. I swear to God, I didn't know. All I knew was Frieza. I knew all the Super Saiyans. I knew Vegeta. I knew Goku. But I didn't even know the storyline. I just knew that somebody was getting beat up.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
you're just watching boom, 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 boom.
Like, ooh, Cell is killing him. But I didn't know, like, really what the story arc was. Like, even now I'm still catching up. Although I saw it, but I don't know what they said. You know what I mean? So
yeah. No, that's crazy, man. It's good to see that you were like for lack of a better term, like a true follower and fan of Bape, because I feel like nowadays, like a kid here or there may have a piece in their wardrobe because they saw it and they think it's hot. I'm like, yo, look at this. This is a hoodie from 2004, guys, 2005, yo. It's crazy.
I go back Milo days, bro. I go back where like when Pharrell, the crazy shit about it is like, and I think you'll start to realize even during this conversation is like, a lot of my favorite creators in the music game have the same taste as me. I'm not saying that we're the same people, but we tend to have the same tendencies. I'm an artist. I used to draw. I went to animation school. I did that stuff. I make music. I design clothes. It's the same factor. So when I saw Pharrell rocking Bape, I was like, oh, okay. That's what's up. Like, I'm glad Pharrell hopped on. You know what I mean? Like, this is hip hop history to me. You know what I mean? So it's crazy to see that, man. It's crazy to see that.
Yeah, man. And that's kind of like a great segue too, because I mean, like the shoes that I'll never forget are these multicolored Bapes. I got this one pair I'll never forget that are bright pink with a navy blue bottom, and like the star and everything is in bright orange. And like no one was rocking that stuff in America. When I brought that back, everyone was like giving me the craziest looks, but I was peacocking, my man. I was standing out at college. I was killing it.
When I got a little Bape shirt and stuff, people were like, oh, I don't know what that is. I'm like, okay, cool. Got the Bape shoe. People like, oh, those fake Air Forces? I'm like, all right, cool. I was like, all right, cool. We'll see. It's all good because I know how much I spent on it, so we'll see.
Yes, Doug.
Everybody's rocking it. Then I feel weird because everybody's rocking it, and I'm like, no one's giving me the credit.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean?
I've been there, dog.
Give me the credit that I was the person who brought this to attention to you because you were busy making fun of me, but it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. We're just trendsetters, dog. You know, someone's got to set the trends, you know?
And I tend to do that, you know what I mean?
No, man. And that's perfect. That's a perfect segue because I think, you know, there's a few things I want to talk to you about. But one of the main things is besides your musical career, is your side as a creative. One of the things that you've really left an impact and a stamp on our sport of parkour and freerunning is helping develop and design two of the Tempest shoes, one the NLS one, as well as the most recent LaFleur signature shoe, the LS.
Yep.
How did you get involved in doing that? I guess I kind of know the backstory, but how did you get involved with Team Tempest and designing their shoes?
So it's a funny story, man. Like, I love when I'm growing up. I loved action sports. I just loved action sports. Like, I loved the skateboarding. I love watching the X Games. Like, I was a Tony Hawk fan, Chad Muska. Like, you know what I'm saying? All those. Like, I used to love that. But it wasn't me. But I loved it, you know? And me and Gabe Nunez, who was actually the CEO of Tempest, we actually went to college together. His wife is actually my best friend, like literally my best friend.
No way, Nahid's your best friend.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know that part. That's crazy.
Yeah. So Nahid is my best friend, and Gabe is like, he's like my best friend. So they kind of like fight for my best friendship, but they're both my best friends. And Gabe, I used to see Gabe do capoeira and all sorts of stuff in college, and he was a breakdancer, and we used to rap and all that stuff together. Like, and when they got together, they moved to LA, and I was already going to go to LA. So when I went to LA, he started getting into wanting to get into stunts and into parkour, and I saw him do this stuff, and I'm like, yo, this joint's kind of cool because it kind of like a mix of some of the stuff I like. I like martial arts and I like breakdancing. It's hip hop, like. And then I started watching them and looking at them and like seeing Victor and Rich and all these dudes, and I'm like, dude, this is hip hop, bro. This is like hip hop. If hip hop had a sport, it should be parkour, literally, because anybody can do it. They can get into it. It's from the streets. You don't have to have a lot of money. You just gotta have feet. I mean, dude, to me, it's hip hop. It's a little bit of breakdancing, a little. You see people doing windmills on top of their stuff, and a little bit of tricking, a little bit of parkour, free running, all that mixed together. I was like, man, this is incredible. So when he started making the gym, I used to be like, wow, you guys are about to make a gym? He's like, yeah, we're gonna make a gym for us. You know, we don't know how it's gonna go. We're just gonna make it for us. We're just doing us so we can have somewhere to train and stuff like that. I was like, man, that's dope. So I was there from the beginning, and I had a background in designing and getting with some manufacturers here in LA, which is super, super hard if you're trying to get into the clothing game. Knowing manufacturers here in LA is a secret society. And I had to pay at least, I paid 2 to 3 years of my time to get to where I'm at, to where we can have at least have a concept of even having a shoe.
Yes.
Because it took time. Like, it's not easy. So that's a whole nother world. So I had that background, and of course, like I said, I have a degree in computer animation, and so I'm always into the art world. And I used to see all these kids come into the gym, and I used to be like, dang, this is dope. All these little kids coming here, like some adults coming here, like open gyms. And then one day I was like, Gabe, bro, all these kids is coming to the gym. And I hear the number one question I hear from parents: do you have any special shoes for this sport? And I was like, yo, why don't y'all make some shoes? He was like, okay. He was like, okay, make it. I was like, what?
Okay.
Okay.
Make the shoe. I was like, all right, but like, I need commitment, bro. I need commitment that
Yes.
if I'm gonna make the shoe, we're gonna go all the way. He was like, just make it. So next thing you know, here I am, dude. Like, and I'm already a sneakerhead. I was a super sneakerhead. That I had to tone down on my sneakers because it just at a point it just gets to like, it's just crazy. So I'm a
See,
sneakerhead, so I know what sneakers is about.
I'm single, and I know you're not, so I could be a sneakerhead still.
Right, dog. I can't do that. I can't. It's not that I can't. It's not that I can't afford it. It's just I'm such a, like I said, I'm a vintage head. So the shoes that I want, all of a sudden every kid wants these shoes, bro. Like, and I can't even get what I really want. So, that's a whole nother story. But that's a whole nother frustration because I take L's every week, and it's like it's all good, man. But so I decided to make the shoe, man, and it's a hard process, man. It's not like making jeans or making shirts.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard, and I don't have a architectural degree or any of that, but I do have a computer animation degree, so I do know when it comes down to modeling and what I need to do. But I had some good friends in the manufacturing business who were able to help me along the way, and it just improved my resume, and it just made it like, okay, like there's a difference between a sneakerhead and then somebody who actually designs sneakers, you know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, man, that's how it all started, bro. Like it was crazy. The LF1, I mean, the NLS1 compared to the LF1 is almost night and day if you knew the
Yes.
process. Like the NLS1 was, we took some elements from the mold, from the outsole, from another existing shoe that doesn't exist anymore within the world. So our manufacturer had to go out and find that mold for us to get. And then he found it, and I just built the upper. And I wanted to make a story within that shoe. Like, hey, this is our first shoe. I wanted to, if you ever see the shoe, um, I wanted us to make waves. So I kind of
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
waves in the shoe, and I made the colorway orange and blue to represent Tempest, Tempest goldfish and us swimming in the ocean. And I made the inside of the shoe orange to let you guys know that we're in your soul. Like, you know what I mean?
Ah.
So it
Okay.
was just
Okay.
a lot of stuff went into that shoe, man, and I think it turned out really great, and I think it's a classic as far as with the parkour world because you can actually rock it and look kind of cool.
Yeah, 100. And dude, everything that you're talking about, I can completely attest to in the sense that people think it's easy to make clothes, but all they're thinking about is screen printing, which is finding a screen printer and printing a logo. That is not manufacturing. And I only know this because I have a buddy who prints all of my stuff, but he actually is one of the biggest clothing suppliers to the NBA besides Adidas. So like anytime that they do like the NBA finals, he's the one that prints the shirts for the winners and the losers and then gets
Oh my
paid
God.
to burn the losers. So my man's big time. He does all the Pacquiao fights, the Mayweather fights, CrossFit gyms. But even him, like during this time when the pandemic broke out, he hit me up and was like, yo, I'm going to convert my factory lines into making cloth protective masks. Are you down? I was like, yeah, for sure. This should be a smash. And even with 35, 40 years of his experience, he's like, bro, we're trying to source cloth right now is absolutely impossible. He's like, we're working on cross-cutting elements of this. That cross-cut's going to take longer than people are just doing strings. I'm like, I don't understand Spanish, bro, but like, I trust you.
It's a whole nother language, man, and I'm fortunate to be able to be in that world just because I was in and out of certain situations, and I was able to make friends with them. And it is totally, people have no idea how hard it is to get from ideation to actual creation, and then from creation actually on your body, and then for people to actually like your stuff. Like, dude, it's a lot of processes to get to where you're going, man, this sucks.
Yes,
Like that's and as a creator, it's hard for me not to be offended when someone says like, yo, yeah, it's cool. And you're like, bro, is it cool, bro? Do you know how many years it took to get to this point to where, like, you know how much money, you know how many trials and errors I had to go through to even get it possible to get on you. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. So that's, like I said, that's how the shoe happened, dude.
And to put it in perspective for kids that are out there listening, from start time from ideation all the way to actual production where it came off the line, what was the length of time for the NLS?
The NLS was about 2 years.
Damn. All right. And then my second question is, was it produced here stateside, or were you guys having to work and deal with molds back in China? Because I know that I've dealt with importing and exporting from China. Sometimes just samples alone could take a month to get a sample, turn it back, another month for a sample, turn it back.
Exactly. So we have to get it done in China for us to even be able to afford to give it to the public. To get it done in America is very expensive, because if it's $12 an hour per person to do something, dude, that's expensive to make. I mean, the shoe would be $400.
Totally.
You know what I mean? But if you get it made in China or Vietnam or some other places, their hourly wage is totally different, so you can afford to do it. But like you said, what really takes the time is the communication. Like, and people don't understand it. In order for me to have a conversation with somebody in China, I need to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning talking to them during their lunchtime or something to get something done. If I don't, we lost a day.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to samples, like you said, it may take a month or 2 months. So, and they may do it on purpose. You know, you never know, because you just have to have the trust, and you have to have a deadline, and you have to make sure you know what you want from the beginning, or it's going to take a long time. But 2 years, man, is normal when it comes to a shoe.
Yeah, and that's good for kids to hear, because there's so many sides to it that people don't know about unless they've dealt with dealing with companies in China. And I've done it multiple times, from clothing to electronics and all kinds of stuff. So I've seen different facets. And hands down, I still do business in China because, like you said, you can produce it at a cheap cost. They do work hard, but one thing that I learned quickly was, like you said, like, they may delay it on purpose. I know money talks. If a bigger client walks in, they're getting jumped to the front of the line. And I also didn't realize they work hard, but when they break, they break.
They break.
Like, when they take off in January, they closed.
It's done. Chinese New Year means you're not getting nothing for 2 to 3 months. It's a wrap. Like, you better have everything done. And don't come around, dude. Don't come around Christmas. Don't come around December.
Don't even try.
If you're not Nike, Adidas, you're not even getting looked at. You're not getting looked at, dude. It's just impossible. If you don't have your stuff done by at least September, you may not get your stuff back. You might not get your stuff done till April, March. It's a real game. It's not. It's like, I just hope that people really understand what these companies are trying to do, especially small businesses like Tempest and us trying to come out with a shoe, man. It's a lot of factors, dude. It's very hard, bro. It's very hard, man.
And that's why I want to kind of like put that out there in the open so people can realize like all the effort that's getting put into it. Because, man, I support all the up and coming parkour teams, you know, that are taking designs and printing them on shirts with, you know, maybe custom neck labels, or maybe they're bagging their stuff with hang tags. But dude, to take something from actual development from scratch and actually find your fabrics, find your cuts, your molds, and all that, I know it takes forever. So hopefully this will give people more motivation to support companies like Tempest and Jam and stuff, and buy stuff that we're developing from the ground up, which is crazy.
And that's one of the things that I feel like I brought to at least Tempest, if not just Tempest, at least to the free running world, where I have a little bit of more knowledge than a lot of people in our business, to where, like, no, you know, we need to do a little bit more cut and sew. I do like what the free running world has done this last, like the winter stuff that we did, especially the whole free running. We stepped up our graphic design game a lot, and I'm proud of that. I like to see the cuts that we're doing. It looks better. It feels better, and that's what we need to be. We need to be continuously rising to the point where other people recognize us. You know, because it's one thing for the parkour world to know that we're dope, but it's another to have anybody who's outside of that world to be like, oh yeah, that shirt is dope, bro.
Exactly.
Like, where'd you get that from? It's like, oh no, this is Tempest. And that's what I try to achieve with my designing. Like, I didn't design any of the shoes to fit what a free runner would like design wise, as far as with the look. I wanted to make sure to let people know that I'm not reaching for free runners or parkour people. I'm reaching for people outside of the world so they can come in and be like, oh, this is a free running shoe? This is a parkour shoe? Dude, this is dope. I want more of that. And that's what I try to bring to the table. You know what I mean? And I think what a lot of people don't understand is the LF1 is by far the most the most advanced shoe in
Yes.
free running. Period, bro.
Yes.
Like the amount of stuff that we had to go through making a proprietary foam blend to uh, making an original mold, dude. An original mold costs so much money, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And for it to actually work, I go to Portland twice a year, and I'm around Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour and Puma and all these people, and they see what I'm doing. They know that I'm the only person in the building who specializes in parkour and free. They see us. Nike sees us. Adidas sees us, but they don't see us yet because the growth of our community hasn't reached to the point where it makes money to them. So I'm trying to build us to at least start getting Nike sponsorships, man. Adidas sponsorships, Puma, X Games. Why are we not on X Games? Like, why are we not on? Like, come on, man. It just doesn't make sense by now, and it kind of makes me upset. But all I can keep doing is trying to get us to that position, you know. And I'm not saying I'm the only person who could do it, but what I know is that when I go to Portland, I'm the only person in the building who's doing this. Period.
Man.
And they know that. And I'm around some of the gods in sneakerhead in sneaker design. I'm around the gods, and I'm giving them my shoe and showing them my shoe, and they're looking at it like, oh my goodness, this is nice. Like, oh, so the inside. Oh, okay. Wow, this has memory foam on the. Wow, this is great. Like, this is for you guys are for real. And I'm like, yeah, we're serious. You know, and I go out there to represent us as free runners, parkour, the whole community, man. You know, like I'm wearing a Nike PK shirt. That Nike PK doesn't even exist. You know what I mean? So
That's from the homie in New York, right?
yeah, bro. That joint fly, bro. When I saw that, it went with everything that I'm trying to achieve for this sport, man. Like I'm trying to achieve that. Like I want us to get those looks. I want us to get sponsorships from other companies.
Yeah.
It's unfair that Red Bull's the only big competition. You know what I mean? It's unfair. We need to have more. We have more competitions, bigger competitions, and the cash prize needs to be bigger. You know?
Yeah, I
agree. They're throwing their body.
And let me speak to this from a unique perspective. I used to, besides Frosty on Team Tempest, I was actually the one that got Frosty to be the MC because I used to be the former host of the Red Bulls, and I actually had to bail one year, and that's why Frosty filled in for me. I will say this. As a commentator, I used to make more than the winner. And that's messed up. And that's messed up. And here's the thing. I'm not going to tell them, no, I'm not going to accept my rate. But you know, that's suicide. But I used to always tell people, like, this is messed up, man. I am making more sitting in a booth with the best view in the world and a sunshade over me than these guys that could potentially end their career in one move, you know? And then to see on SportsCenter or ESPN, I turned on ESPN the other day and I see World Series of Dominoes, the championships of cornhole. I'm like, bro,
come on,
that
guys.
pisses me off. I saw the the drone races, and I'm
yes,
bro, you telling me more people are watching drone races than would watch parkour? Come on, man. Like, I don't know what it is, man. And I'm trying to. What I'm trying to do as a creator is trying to break those barriers down to the point that we can have a chance. That was the reason that, I mean, coming to the music part, that was the reason why I made my first single, Freerun Parkour, because I wanted this record to be something that at least we can push it out there. If we can push it out there enough, it'll get enough attention. The video is insane, period. There's a video that's insane. And I hope that we can get enough heads on there to where we can make certain moves that people understand what I'm talking about. Because when you hear the beat, people be like, oh, okay, this is a little jam. I'm like, this is cool. But my lyrics, I'm literally talking about what they're doing. Yes. Like, I'm talking about what they're doing. They could break their neck. I'm showing it. I'm telling you what can happen. I'm telling you how to get down, and some of them jump on roofs. And so my whole existence in the parkour community is to try to get them as much exposure as possible. You know what I mean?
Hell yes. Yeah, and for those that don't know, like we're gonna bounce around a little bit, but like you just touched on right now, besides just the design of the shoe, one of the things you have coming out, I believe the release date is June 12th.
Yeah, June 12th.
So June 12th, for all of you out there that are, practitioners of our sport, like one of the things you can do is go reserve it on Spotify ahead of time, be ready to like it. You have a single coming out that's based on parkour and free running. And just from your Instagram, I seen Didi Aloui, 2019 Red Bull Art of Motion champ, was in it. I saw Tanner Witt was in one of the pictures flipping over you. So
Eric is in one video. He's
Eric Mukamechin.
Corbin, Jesse LaFleur, Sydney, some Dominique is in there, dude. Like, I got people in there, bro. Like, it's not like I'm not a poser who decided to want to get into the free running game and try to exploit free running. No, I love this shit. You know what I'm saying? I love it. I wish I could do a lot of that stuff. I could do a backflip into some into some foam pit. I can do a front flip, backflip. I can jump off a wall into a foam pit. I can hang on some bars. I can't do what they do because I wasn't built for that. I was built for basketball and football. That's what I did. Yeah. So it's like, when it comes to seeing them do that stuff, it's amazing. It's incredible, man. Like, it's crazy to see what they do with their bodies, man. And I love the sport. Like, I literally, when they have a competition, I go to competitions. You know what I mean? I went to Santorini. I went out there to see how we are around the world. And when I got there, I already knew, but I had to see it for myself, how big it is internationally compared to America. And that's night and day. Like, people don't understand, outside of America, parkour is known. Free running is known. And I like to see that because I know that there's legs to what I'm doing. And there was one kid who was wearing the Tempest shoe, the NLS ones, when we were in Greece, and that shoe was so beat up, but he was still wearing it, right? And I was like, dude, that's a dope shoe. I like that you wearing that. He's like, oh yeah, thanks, man. Blah 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 blah. I was like, yo, I designed that joint. This right here, like, watching you wear that like that, dude, is everything. He was like, what? You designed the shoe? And I'm like, yeah, because to me, I was just making conversation. I wasn't trying to like boast or anything. But he was like, yo, you designed it, dog. This is like my favorite shoe. You see, like, I busted this joint up, but like, for me to get your shoe, it cost me so much money on the shipping and the taxes from where I come from to where you're at, that it's like, this shoe, I have to like blow through it. But as soon as I get some more money, I'm trying to get another shoe. And I'm like, wow, dude, there's some dedication here. These people really are about this life, man. And it's incredible, man. It's incredible because I know what's going to come in the future. I see free running becoming the new skateboarding. I see it. It's clear as day. It's literally, to me, it's the cousins of skateboarding. These people are just as badass as people on, in skateboards. Same fashion sense. Well, I'm trying to get them to that type of fashion sense. It's they like wearing the baggy stuff, and I'm like, yo, but for performance based, dude, you might want to keep it a little bit more aligned on your body compared to all loose, because if it gets loose and you slip on your shirt, it's a wrap. So
totally,
there's a certain things that I think about compared to everybody else.
That's wild, man. And so in line with the song, before we jump off that topic real quick, I know that it's releasing on audio platforms on June 12th. Is the video dropping at the same time, or is that going to be followed up with
yeah, it's going to be followed up. I'm going to give it about a month, maybe a month or maybe 2 weeks. I'm not so sure. But I definitely want to do at least a lyric video, having some parkour in the lyric video so people can understand what I'm saying while people are doing flips. And then I'm going to drop that video, and I hope that a lot of people watch the video and put it with the song and understand what I'm talking about, and understand that this is our time. You know what I mean? This is our anthem. This is our kick push. This is our Lupe kick push.
Shout out Lupe, yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? This is our Lupe kick push. And I'm not coming with these serious lyrics on this single. You know what I mean? I'm coming with lyrics that people can understand. I'm not trying to go crazy. I'm trying to go a little bit more commercial at least on this first track, so that you guys understand that I at least do it. And then the next track, I'm just gonna go off.
Hell yeah, that's cool. You just got to get people's attention at first to just look, and then you can do what you want once you have the platform. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that not only did you feature genuine parkour and freerunning athletes of some of the top tier in the world, but I think the video was also directed by Marcus Zirkin Gustafsson.
Yep.
And Gabe Nunez himself, right? So
for me, I had the option with my management team to choose any track, and I chose parkour, the free run parkour, but I thought to myself, I want this to be 100% us.
yes.
I don't care how much it's going to cost us. I want it to be 100% us. I don't want anybody who's holding that camera not to be a part of the world. Like, I need everybody who's part of this to be a part of that world somehow. And to have Zirkin like direct it, bro, he's a sick director. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
He gets these images and the way that he moves with the camera, unlike anybody in free running. You know what I'm saying? And I needed that. And to have Gabe direct it, come on, man. He's an accomplished stuntman. Like, he knows what it should look like, or the way it should be done. So yeah, that was incredible, man. They really came out for me, man. So I give a shout out to everybody who was involved in the video. I'm gonna be coming out with more and more behind the scene pictures before the song comes out, just so they could see, like, yo, this is what it kind of looks like in the video. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Hell yeah, man. No, that's super dope, man. And just as someone that's been, involved in hip hop culture my whole life too, I used to lay down freestyles and tracks back in the day. To actually see someone put our sport in a song and on a platform where they're actually trying to push it to the world is pretty surreal, man. I have to just thank you and give you some respect and props on behalf of me and the community.
Thank you. Well, thank you guys for giving me the inspiration to come up with this, man, because I could tell it's an uphill battle for us to get some respect in the sports world. But the way I look at it is, we need to be featured on every medium in the arts. We just can't be doing stunts. We just can't be doing Instagramming. And then we leave out anybody who represents us in music. Like, that's a huge, huge, like, space. And if I can fill that space, it's not like I suck. I'm good.
Yes.
I can at least hold it down for us to get some stuff going. Maybe I, help out with some competitions and I throw in some money here, or I have a label say, yo, let's throw on the biggest free running competition for this record. Something, dude. Like, but there's nobody there to represent that. And that's what I wanted to be.
Yes. And you know what? It's kind of funny, man. You kind of touched on it in a previous comment where you said that when you went to a competition, you really got to see for the first time that parkour globally is more of a recognizable term outside of the United States. I used to always say it's because of two reasons. One, because their architecture lends better to it. But more importantly, they got free healthcare over there, so parents are more inclined to let their kids do it, dog.
Facts. That and they don't have as many sports as we do in America.
Correct.
We're occupied, bro. We're occupied.
Yeah.
It's football, baseball, basketball, soccer,
volleyball,
it's gymnastics. We have every sport. So for another sport to try to come into the business, it's like, I don't know where can I take my child? Like, I could take him to any baseball or any football coach. And that's why I like what Tempest does. They build gyms and kids go in there and they're like, oh, I kind of like this. This is what I like. This is me. I don't have to do everything else. This is me. This isn't gymnastics. This is free running. You know what I mean? So I like that, dude. I like everything about it, man.
Hell yeah. And you know what's kind of cool about it is that, like, this is kind of going to bring things full circle with it, though, kind of back to where we started, which is, as you stated, one of the goals is to continue to push the music to get onto bigger platforms as well as just the sport in general. And one of the things that I think is going to help our sport get taken to the next level is kind of just gaining more viewership and more people interested in it by repackaging it. And one of the best ways that I've seen that happen in the last few years is the huge wave and success of Ninja Warrior. And most importantly and most recently, there is a little show on a small network known as Fox, and that show is called Ultimate Tag. And one of the coolest things about it is not only is it utilizing parkour and freerunning athletes, a lot of the familiar faces that we know from Tempest, but to make it full circle, I know that they are wearing your shoe for all of the athletes and the competitors on that.
Facts. And people don't know how big that is.
Yes.
That's our shoe. That's not Tempest. Let's take Tempest out of this. Yeah, Tempest made it, but they made it for the free running parkour community. That is our shoe that they're wearing on the national stage, bro. Like, they're
Yes.
wearing that shoe. And I give credit to Jesse LaFleur going out there doing what he does, you know what I mean? And getting them to wear the shoe. Sydney getting them to wear the shoe. Like, the shoe means a lot because we put a lot of time into it. And I believe that it's a great shoe because I've proven it, and it took me 3 years to get it done. I mean, it took me 3 years to get it done, dude. This is no game, man. Like, everything was calculated on that shoe. And to see it on the national stage. I mean, it's one thing to see it on American Ninja Warrior, which I saw the NLS ones a lot on the Ninja Warrior. All of our colors, the black and wild, and the original colors. It's one thing to see it on Ninja Warrior, but it's another to see the network premiere have a lot of the people are wearing our shoe.
Yes.
And all we need to do is continue to support that show, no matter how we feel. Just watch it. Because if that can gain numbers and they can get a second season and this can keep on going on and this turns into a phenomenon, dude, the only people who are gonna succeed in this are free runners. They're gonna succeed in this. And then we can start opening this conversation up, getting us into the X Games and getting us into having our own TV shows and stuff like that. And yeah, man, it's incredible to watch that, dude. It's funny. I think it's funny. I think it's dope because I've seen that Ultimate Tag stuff internationally, and they're really into it. Like, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
But to see it hit America, that's dope, man. I mean, I know that's been in production for like almost a year and a half, so we've been waiting for a long time for that to come out. But I'm glad it came out, man.
Yeah. Yeah, TV productions can take just as long as clothing productions from start to finish sometimes, man. Yeah. I've been on some long-term ones. But yeah, just real quick so people know, kind of get a backstory on the newest one, which is the LF1. The first one, the NLS, was just designed for all consumers and was basically pushed as a Tempest team shoe. But the LF1 is very specific because LF actually stands for LaFleur, which is Jesse LaFleur. And this is like a signature shoe, which is dope because you guys not only created another model of a shoe, but you're actually putting an athlete on a platform where he has his own shoe for the first time, you know? This is like how Jordan got his Jordan shoe, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is very rare, guys, and that's why I thought it was so cool. How long did it take you from start to finish? Was it 3 years on this one? And what stylistically was different? Because I know you kind of touched on it before with like proprietary foam and stuff, but I know it's also a high top compared to a low top. What are the main differences with you stylistically and structurally?
Yeah, so other than the high top, we make sure to put satin inside the shoe, get it a good feel. We make sure that the insole was comfortable for you to wear and wear regularly. The rubber was very hard to get the right blend. One thing that people don't know is if you do it too soft, then it breaks off.
Yeah.
If you do it too hard, it'll be too slippery. So we had to have the right balance in order for it to work. The grooves on the shoe on the bottom, I designed that to make it where it's a suction. It's kind of a suction on the wall. Okay. So even if a little piece pops off, or even if you get a little pebble in there, it still won't stop the rubber or the suction from actually getting on that wall. It'll actually let you catch the edges a lot better whenever you jump on an edge. We made it a little bit wider. You'll notice on the toe part, so that you can actually get the corner a lot better. You have a lot more space, a lot more room to catch that corner. When it comes to the ankle part, we put a little bit of foam there, a little bit of foam by where your I don't know what that part is, but where it goes into the upper part of your foot. We make sure to put foam there, so if you do one of those LaFleur tricks, you won't hurt your foot. And what people don't know, a lot of people don't know, is I kind of modeled the shoe from the Jordan 1.
Wow. Okay.
Look at the Jordan 1 now that you know, louder people know, because nobody's ever said this, because I'm the designer. So no matter what anybody says, I'm the designer. So I'm telling you exactly where I got this.
Yes.
The toe part, you'll notice that I'm literally giving an homage to the Jordan 1. Because to me, the Jordan 1 was the beginning of a signature shoe and a little bit of technology. So I wanted to add that type of effect to our shoe. So you'll notice now, if you see the LF1, that it kind of looks like a Jordan 1. It's a mixture of three different Jordans, three or four different Jordans, and of course my own take, and of course a Huarache. So
Yes.
if you notice that the sock will like it straps onto your foot like a Huarache.
Yep.
The material is just like the Huarache. I wanted to have that type of feel to it, but it's definitely, if you look at it, you'll be like, oh, I see. It's kind of like the Jordan 1. So yeah, it's like a Jordan 1, Jordan 5, Huarache. Shoot, yeah,
That's dope. And now I know previously, like on the original NLS, like you said, the orange was the goldfish and the blue was the water. And I totally forgot I've swallowed a goldfish until you said that. First of all, I forgot I've done it too, bro. I've done the Tempest goldfish swallow. Oh, I've done it. I forgot until you brought it up. But what was the inspiration behind the black and purple tones?
So that was just pretty much what LaFleur wanted, what Jesse wanted. He wanted a royal purple on there. That was like the theme that he was going for. For it being all black, he wanted it to be able to be on TV shows because they don't want to see a logo or anything like that. And they want a black shoe. They don't want it all colorful and stuff like that. So when they use it in movies or they use it on TV shows, you can't really tell the branding of it. You know what I'm saying? Yes. But one of the things that a lot of people do not know is that originally on the back of the shoe, it was a reflective material that I found at one of the sneaker material conferences I go to, that changed the color from black to purple.
Oh,
like reflective wise.
Yeah.
Like, so just to give a backstory on when I go to Portland. Whenever I go to Portland, I'm with these Nike people and all that stuff because we're going to a sneakers materials conference. Okay. So the sneaker materials conference has sneaker materials that won't be out to the world until like 3 or 5 years.
Wow.
So all the material that we got was from that show.
So it's ahead of it. It's ahead of everyone.
But because we're a small business, we can get that material now. But if you're a large business, you've already planned for your shoes to come out 3 years from the day.
Seasons upon seasons, yeah.
Exactly. So what people don't understand is a lot of stuff that was on that shoe is advanced in materials wise. And it's 3 years in advance to the actual date. So it's pretty dope to see now Nike use the material that we were supposed to use on the back on these new shoes coming up. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I had that. I had that print. We had that first. Like, it's cool, man. It's cool. It's cool.
It's just like the Bape stuff. We're just trend setting, dog. People may not recognize it till later, but
that's all I'm trying to do, man. And that's always been who I am as a person. I like to tell people I'm a creative visionary. I know it's going to be dope in a few years. Not because, I'm just like this guru. It's because I've done this before, and it's happened every single time. Like when I brought back the Tommy Hilfiger jackets, nobody was bringing back the Tommy Hilfiger jackets. I rocked it. I was getting it for a certain price, and then everybody started wearing it, and now I can't afford to get it anymore. The vintage. I was rocking the vintage shirts. I rock so let me explain to people. I'm a huge vintage head when it comes to sports finals. Like I like wearing old Super Bowl shirts, NBA finals shirts, like Stanley Cup shirts. Like I don't know what about it, but I love it. So I'm telling everybody now, we're making this on video. I'm telling everybody now that I love it, and I've been collecting that for years. And I guarantee you in the next year or two, people are going to be rocking those type of shirts. Promise you.
I feel you on that. And you know what's funny, man, is like even talking to you about like my buddy that manufactures the stuff for the NBA finals and all that. The other day, or a few months ago when Kobe passed away, he went into his like bins of stuff, and bro, he had some designs that have never come out. I was like, bro, please print me one of those. Please print me one of those.
Please print out. Please print out. Oh.
Yeah. Please give me one of those, man. Nah, that's super crazy, man. And then just as an overall thing, just in general, because you know, a lot of the kids that listen to our show are obviously parkour free running athletes, tricking athletes, stunt people, and performers. But we do have a lot of kids that cross over and are always, you know, one of them may be a designer at heart or someone that's creative at heart. Just real quick for them, two questions. One, where do you get a lot of your inspirations from designing? I know you touched upon like drawing from Jordan and other things around it, but I know we also talked about Pharrell earlier. Are you like synesthetic too? Like, do you see visually and colors and all that stuff?
Yeah, I because I see a lot of stuff in colors. It's almost
Okay.
to a fault. I see a lot of movement in colors too. Like I can
Yeah, yeah.
see, and it sounds superhuman. I don't know why it's like that for me, but I can see musical notes in color. I can see when people move. I can see that in color. Where I get my inspiration from, and I've always known it, but this coronavirus has totally proved it, that my environment and the way that I'm feeling
Ah,
determines my creations, whether it be music or not. I thought to myself when this coronavirus stuff started happening and I'm inside, the first week or two, oh bro, I'm making the illest beats, blah blah blah. I'm making the craziest songs, and then after 2 weeks, I'm like, oh shoot, where's my inspiration? Like,
ah,
because if I continue just making music just cause, then my music is gonna start sounding the same. Then I start
yep,
turning
yep.
into this robot. I'm not making anything unique. So I just like to go outside and I like to do other things besides music to give me inspiration to make music.
Okay, okay,
Because I like to draw and I like to design, those aspects give me inspiration in making my music.
okay, cool.
People making music, if I like a beat, I get inspired by the sound. I get inspired by other people, what they're doing. Like, you know, if I see a cold little Kanye shoe or something, and I'm like, yo, I like the way he did that. Or I see Steven Smith do certain things, and I'm like, wow, I see what he's doing. Wow, that's dope. I'll put that into my designing and also into my music. So yeah, that's an answer for the question.
That's dope, man. I'm so jealous of you because it's something that I've heard of forever, which is why I even knew about it. Like I've heard Pharrell talk about seeing in colors, and I've seen Kanye talk about seeing everything in colors, even musical notes, and it's like that's like a totally different world to me. So I'm always blown away by it.
It one thing that I have, one thing that I don't know if any other creator has said it, but for me, it's very hard for me. I think a lot. I think a lot, almost to the point where I can't go to sleep unless I have to tell my brain to stop thinking,
Shut it off,
go
right?
to sleep. And it's very hard because I'm thinking of so many things, because I do so many different things that I have to force my brain to go to sleep. Like I have to force it. And it's very hard sometimes. But yeah, that's one of those dilemmas of being a creator.
Hell yeah. No, that's super dope, man. And then just I guess for anyone out there that may be in a similar boat or be inspired by your talk and your words on here today, what advice would you give to someone that is, let's say, two questions. One, what advice would you give to someone that's up and coming in the music industry and wants to get to where you're at right now? And then what would you say to someone that's interested in the design world as well? Any steps or tips that you would give them to save time on their journey?
For the music world, patience. 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 Like, and working on your craft all the time, working on your craft. But knowing, don't be a robot. Work off of feeling. Do it off of passion. Don't think about the money. Do it off of passion. Never do anything in life if you're not passionate about it,
Yes.
because it's useless and it doesn't help for anybody. It definitely doesn't help you. So definitely for music, understand that there's going to be a lot of people who say that your music sucks. There's going to
Yes.
be a billion people who are going to say that your music sucks, straight up. But knowing that there's an audience for you, find your audience. Find your audience. Learn how to make tracks like a Pharrell. If you know how to make a track like Pharrell does, and you know how to make a track like Kanye does, okay, blend the two, and guess what? There you go. There's your style. But you first need to emulate. You need to do research. You need to know the history on how to make certain type of music, especially for this age in music. A lot of people don't know, like when the streaming you have to understand that the first 30 seconds count as a stream.
Yeah.
So your first 30 seconds need to be worthy enough for them to continue going on to the 31st second, for them to even be for them to even acknowledge that someone even listened to it. You understand? So as far as with the musical world, that's what they need to know. They need to know to keep on going. People are not gonna like it. That your family and your friends probably are not gonna get it. Your parents definitely are not gonna get it. They think that they're gonna think that's a waste. But if you love it, you do it. Like it's your world, you do it. Um, that's the only advice I have for music. For
Okay.
designing, designing for up and coming designer, the first thing they need to do is they need to learn from somebody. They need to throw themselves into the industry and learn.
Okay.
Understand about manufacturing, understand about design, understand about the times of designing. Like right now, a lot of logos and a lot of design is going back to the way that they designed back in the 70s. So they need to know, like right now, the cool thing is 70s looking logo when it comes to typography, right? These
Yes.
are things that they have to research. They need to be up on the newest trends. And they need to know the genre of what they're specializing in, and then you need to know it up and down.
Okay. Okay.
And when it comes to the designing, get your ideas from going outside, socializing with people, listening to different music. Don't just listen to the same. You're listening to hip hop all the time, dude. You're failing yourself. You're hurting yourself. Go listen to some rock and roll. Go listen to some punk rock. Go listen to some country. Go listen to other aspects that can help you in not only your designing but also in your musical influences. You know, so I would say look into other things that you're not used to get your inspiration.
Hell yes. I think that's something that can be applied to everything, especially, touching home on like even just parkour and free running. Some of my favorite athletes in our sport are the ones that draw upon inspiration from their previous backgrounds in other sports or influences from breakdancing, things like that. Jesse LaFleur, he was a rollerblader. You can tell when he does parkour and free running that he had a style before. So yeah, inspiration comes in many forms. You just got to be a student of life always.
You could tell with like even when Victor used to do stuff back, he's like, "Oh, you come from like a break dancing type of world, or like
Yeah.
a
And
dancing
then when
type
he
of
would
world." Or
run, I knew he
Gabe,
was a gymnast.
yeah, or even Frosty. Used to look at Frosty
Yes.
as like his the way that he does his movements is very childlike in a way of bouncing off of stuff and like just looking to like do something cool off of something. Like everybody has this signature about them that I like and I love about parkour, man. Like I said, my favorite free runner is Didi, and it's
Yes.
not because of you know who he is. It's where he comes from. It's his struggle, his grind. It's the same thing that I understand because my mother's not from this country. Like I
Yeah.
understand what it means to try to come to this country and try to make something of yourself and try to feed your family. So I understand that movement. I understand when he's in the gym working hard, trying to perfect a flip, bro. That's that Jordan mentality. That's that Kobe mentality.
Yeah.
And we need people like that in this sport. Like we need people that look like him who do what he does and get it going for free running, man. Like that's what I always thought of where free running should be is what DD is. And
Yes.
I see where it's going. Even the girls are dope, bro. Like I can see the girls taking over free running in the next 5 years, honestly, because they have the right weight, they have the right size to do incredible flips that men cannot do. And it's coming, and it's coming. I see these little girls like 13, 14 years old
Yeah.
doing crazy flips in these competitions, bro. Like it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Totally. And what I've seen also is that free running and parkour for a lot of people can be their first sport that they've ever been introduced to. But I've seen some badass females, and no coincidence about it, they were high-level gymnasts as kids growing up. And
Yes.
gymnastics is a lot more common, not to make it a sexist thing, but gymnastics is a lot more common amongst females as opposed to males. And if they all start transitioning over, woo, it's
Oh,
a
it's
wrap.
gonna happen.
It's a
Oh, it's
wrap.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
You can tell right now. Look at the news. Look at the news.
Yeah.
Just look at the news. You see what's happening with gymnastics.
Yeah.
Look at the news, dude. They're gonna want to do something else. They still want to do the flips and stuff. Come to
Oh, yeah.
free running. Come to parkour.
Yeah.
Period. Like, you see
Express
what's happening over
yourself.
there. They've been doing that same type of stuff for years, bro. For years. There got to be an alternative to when you want to flip. It don't got to just be gymnastics. Like, it got to be something else. And that's what I think free running and parkour is. And I know it's going to blow up, man. I just want to be able to be there when it does, man. That's it.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you, man. I think that for some individuals that are so structured their whole life, finding a form that's a little more free form is going to be, something they'll fall in love with. Like me, I grew up as a traditional martial artist. So going out and running and doing stuff just spur of the moment is totally what, spoke to my heart and to my mind over time. And that's why I made the transition. So I think you're right, man. And Didi, more than anyone, like you said, I was training with Didi all last week. And what's crazy about that is this man was training with us while he was still going through Ramadan, not able to eat food. He's fasting. And I'm like, dude, you're a monster. Like, I have no excuses. You know what I'm saying?
I believe that I don't know if I should say it, but I'm gonna say it anyway, man. I just believe that if anybody can break that barrier as far as we're getting a huge sponsor, it could be Didi.
It's very possible.
It honestly could be Didi because he has the look, he has the story, he has the drive to be the best. That's what you want out of somebody you want to sponsor. Like, and I believe that he deserves a big sponsorship, whether it be now or when he wins again. But he deserves it, dude. Like, he is what I think the industry is looking for outside of the community.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I actually literally just this morning I got a DM from a kid from a country around the world. It's a smaller, underdeveloped country, and to cliff note his message, and not to speak down upon him, I hope that he doesn't take this in the wrong way. I wanted to show that I was trying to inspire him, but he basically sent me a message saying, I'm 17 years old. No one respects our sport out here. We don't have any gyms to go to. Like, I'm thinking about quitting because I have nothing to do with it and nowhere to go. And I literally said, hey man, no disrespect, but you can't just give up simply because you're not getting recognition or you feel like you don't have a place to train. I was like, let me send you some examples. And I sent him Demetrius Kursinides, DK, who's on Tempest, who had no gyms or anything. Now Adidas built a gym in his backyard. I sent him Didi Alou. I'm like, yo, my man used to take tires and build parkour parks, go back the next day, and it was stolen.
Come on, bro.
And I'm like, and now he's on Team Tempest, Art of Motion champion. Anything is possible if you put in the time and dedication,
Yo, people come from Latvia, bro. It ain't no joke, bro.
It's not a joke.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, that's what I love about free running, dude. It's the cheapest sport to get into.
Yeah.
You don't need anything but yourself. You don't need a ball. You don't need a goal. You don't need none of that. And that's what makes my belief in free running being the next big sport a possibility, because the biggest sports in the world are sports that are very cheap to play.
Correct.
All you need is somebody saying that this is the goal, this is the line, and a ball.
Yeah.
Basketball. All you need is a basketball and a hoop.
Yeah.
Period. Football, rugby.
Yeah.
All you need is a ball.
Same as like why people used to play stick ball in the hood and stuff. You just need a stick and any type of ball. It doesn't even matter,
All you need in our sport is some shoes, and even you don't even need shoes.
And technically, you don't even need shoes.
You don't even need shoes.
You technically don't even need them. Yeah.
So how can we not be sponsored? That's what makes me so mad. How can this sport not be sponsored? How is that nobody is saying that, yo, I want to be the main provider of free running? How is that possible, dude? And that's what kind of like makes me upset, and I'm so passionate about it. But that's what makes me so upset, because we have all the elements of this being one of the biggest sports in the world, dude.
Yeah.
But like you said, he has to understand that you're not doing this for the likes.
No, not at all.
Doing this because you like it.
Mm-hmm.
If people think it's dumb and it's stupid, that's okay. But there's 1,000, there's 10,000, there's a million people who think like you, who like this sport, who do it because they love it. You can tell by the competitions. When you go to those Red Bull competitions, dog, these Red Bull competitions are not in no like regular place that's cheap. Dog, you have to fly out there, bro. You have to take a train and fly and take a small plane to get these places. And then when you get there, it's packed.
Yeah, it's wild.
So you can't tell me, no one can tell me that this sport doesn't have legs, bro. I see it. I saw it. There's 1,000 people who come to this to try to get into the competition. And the community is such, they're so friendly. Like, if a free runner says, "Hey, I'm coming to America. Does anybody have some accommodation for me?" Like, there's some free runners like, "Yo, come stay at our crib." Blah blah blah. Like, what other sport does that, man?
Yeah. You're right, man. No, you're right. And I think that over time, as we start to get on bigger platforms like Ultimate Tag, and we're able to, I think the problem was back in the days when a lot of people first saw parkour and free running, they associated it with people being daredevils and reckless, and they saw all the bails and the crashes. But now over time, it's like, hey, I think the coolest thing about Ninja Warrior is that it reframed a lot of parkour athletes as like obstacle course guys, which is cool. But the real cool thing I see about Ultimate Tag is that you're putting normal, everyday humans who, some of them were ex-MMA fighters, NFL players, but you put them on a course and you can see a clear difference between people that did parkour and did not, just literally running. And it's like, I think once people start to view parkour as a skill set that can be like, oh, wow, that's an efficient way of moving, as opposed to like, oh, it takes balls to do that. That's what will make that next jump.
And that's why I think Ultimate Tag could work.
Yeah.
What happens if people know the trends of sports, or not even sports, but shows, a lot of the shows that come out on TV, especially game shows, they make it seem as if a normal person can do it.
Correct.
That's why it works. The reason why American Ninja works is because people think that they can run that obstacle. Normal people.
Anyone can.
You know what? I'm going to try it.
I'm going to sign up.
And then they quickly realize, oh no, you got to train for this.
Yes.
So looking at the Ultimate Tag, it's the same thing where it's like, oh yeah, we used to play tag, all day when we were kids, man. Oh man, I could do that. That's nothing. Oh, I could catch him. Okay, let's see. You're going against some of the best free runners in the world. You're going against some of the best athletes in the world. Dude, I don't know if you know that that's pretty hard. It's pretty hard, bro.
It's pretty hard, bro.
Like that Division I football player.
Yo.
I'm thinking to myself immediately when he started, I'm like, bro, your upper body is way too big for you to be. You're not gonna be able to handle this. You're not gonna be, because all you could tell by his physique, you only cared about your upper body.
Yeah.
You ain't thinking about your legs, your cardio. You ain't thinking that, like, no, you're gonna have to run for a while, dog. This ain't gonna be.
I was surprised because they even had that female who was like a quote-unquote MMA fighter, and they did that one round where you had to run and just touch the wall, which is 2 minutes. She was dead at the end. And I was thinking, every MMA fight I watch is 5-minute rounds. You just ran for 2 minutes and you dead. You're supposed to do three rounds for 15 minutes and you're dead after 2. What does that say about the level that it takes to run and jump and climb over things as opposed to just fighting? And as a martial artist, I can't disrespect either one, but I'm like, clearly, you guys got to see the importance and all of the athleticism involved in being a parkour athlete.
Right. And I like that Fox has champion free runners on there. Notable names. These ain't this guy they threw out there he's a free runner. Like, nah, this is the world. This is Sydney. She's a world champion. Yeah. This is Jesse. He's the Michael Jordan of tutorials when it comes to free running. You know what I mean? Like, he's that guy. To see Corbin, the kid, like, his story is crazy if you know the history of Tempest. He is part of the history of Tempest. He's the first kid to go from classes to being a coach to being on the team.
Bro, you want to know something even crazier? Before Tempest opened, Corbin used to come to my gym and learn how to do backflips. So I've seen him pre-Tempest classes, bro. And for me to see him as an athlete and work on stunt jobs with me, I literally walked up to him one day. I was like, this is blowing my mind, bro. Like, I feel old as hell, but more than anything, like, I just feel blessed to have seen your journey through movement. And that's the most incredible thing to me. You know?
And it's crazy when Gabe and Victor and Rich and all of them, when they designed that gym and they made it academy and they were doing classes, that was one of the things that I heard them talk about. Dude, you know, in the next few years, dude, we're gonna have some people who are way better than us, way quicker.
100.
Way quicker, bro. And within the first year or so, they were already like, yo, if this kid can continue doing this, he'll be better than us in a year from now. He will be amazing. And one of those kids was Corbin.
Yep.
Like
It
to
was so
see that,
surreal.
dude, it's incredible, man. It's incredible. It's just a good story. It's a great story to see what Tempest has done for kids, for athletes. It's amazing, man. I think it's one of the free running brands that is worldwide. People know what comes with having that TF on your shirt, dude,
Yes.
or you being sponsored. Just listen to that. Sponsored athlete?
Yes.
What other team is sponsoring athletes? Really paying athletes, bro?
Yeah.
And it's not like Tempest needs to do that, or they have to do. They decided, like, dude, if we want to push this sport, let's be the first to sponsor some athletes, dude. Let's put money up to put these athletes on, dude. And that's, you can't ask for more because they're going out of their way to do that. They don't have to pay that. They can save their money, but they don't. They were putting their money back into the community, man. It's amazing.
Hell yeah, man. No, I totally can attest to it too. And hopefully shortly after your episode, I talked to Gabe. We're going to try to get Gabe on here to give his full story because he's been a huge inspiration to me, not just from a sport perspective, but personally on my own journey. I had a little talk with him last week and he didn't know some of the things he inspired me on and he was kind of blown away. So I totally got to follow this up with getting the man behind everything as well on here.
Yeah, man, definitely. He's stoked and he's happy that his first directorial debut was my video, and it was about free running and parkour. It's the trifecta, dude.
Yeah.
He's an inspiration. He's an inspiration in itself, not just because he's like one of my best friends, but because I saw where he came from. We come from around the same area. He comes from El Paso. I come from Alamogordo, and we went to school in Las Cruces, which is a triangle. Everybody knows those areas. So we were raised around the same type of stuff. We know what it means to come from literally nothing to where we're at now. Even just living in LA is something big if you don't live if you live in El Paso or Alamogordo or something. Like getting out of the town, getting out of your city is huge. Living somewhere else is huge. But to do what he's doing, stunt world and having gyms, it's an incredible story, man.
Hell yeah. Yo, much love, Gabe, but I'm holding you to it. You better get on the JAMCast, dog. I need to tell your story. But yo, man, and just along the lines of that, I know we can't really talk about some of the stuff you guys probably have coming up because I don't want to blow releases and stuff like that. But one of the questions I always ask everyone before we get out of here, that maybe you could blend personal and design stuff together, is where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Where do you see yourself 10 years from now? And if you don't have an answer, that's all good too. Some people can't look that far ahead.
5 years from now, I see myself owning a business that helps free running and in every aspect, whether it's design, whether it's music or something. I see, well, I'll have a son by then, so it'll be 5 years. My daughter, she'll be 9, so I see them getting into the sport and them loving it and just watching free running and parkour become an Olympic sport. I think that's next. I've heard rumblings. I'm not gonna, say anything, but I've heard rumblings across the community. There's a possibility, and that's big. That's huge, and that's something I've always wanted to see. So I think 5 years from now, I see myself being a part of that movement somehow, dude. Like I just see myself being, whether it be an ambassador to the sport or just being, the figurehead or something, but something that has to do with free running. And also, of course, with music and designing, I see myself I already do a lot of stuff when it comes to designing and like that a lot of people don't even know that I'm responsible for. Like, and it's like, it's big. And I be putting hints on I put hints on my Instagram. So if you guys watch it, I put hints on there. Hopefully you guys understand, like, I'm in this manufacturing world, so I'm also a manufacturing rep.
Okay.
So a lot of big brands come to me to get them stuff that they use. So later down in the future, hopefully in 5 years from now, I can be able to blend having some good street artists work with some good free runners and blend those worlds together. Maybe have a gym full of, a Banksy on a I don't know, on a Tempest gym. I'm just naming normal people, but maybe that world, the street artists mixed with free running, and I think that's a perfect blend. But they don't know it yet, so I have to convince them. So
yes, hell yes. No, that's dope, man. I think those are all incredible things. And to me, it's just really inspiring to hear somebody that isn't necessarily a full practitioner of the sport be so committed and in love with our sport. If it wasn't for individuals like you, we wouldn't continue to grow. So on behalf of myself and everyone else, I really appreciate all you've done so far for the community, from the shoe design to getting everything together with your song. And, hopefully the people will go support and check it out when it comes out on June 12th, right?
Right, June 12th.
Hell yeah.
Oh, also, announcement. I'll make it here. I'm going to make it now.
Oh, snap.
On Friday, I am releasing an IG filter.
Ah, okay.
Instagram filter for my song. When you see it, you're going to be like, oh, shit, this is dope. I've already sent a test link to a couple people, and hopefully it blows up, because it's going to make you want to do something according to my song. So it'll be playing my song on top of showing you something that you should do. And it's going to come out this Friday at 3 o'clock, 2:55 p.m. Pacific time. Be ready. I will put it up on my Instagram. And then I'll have some athletes. They'll be throwing it out there.
Dude, that's pretty awesome, man, because most likely your episode is going to come out on a Friday. So, like, this literally could come out just hours after that. So we'll make sure to drop a link and stuff, too, and make sure people do. And so before we get out of here, though, can you just let people know where they can stay up to date with you on your social media? Let them know what your handles are, and then also just let them know where they can follow and get the track on June 12th.
On all platforms, you'll be able to get the song. The song's called Freerun Parkour from Varnell Hill. VarnellHill, Varnell Hill. If you know the backstory to Varnell Hill, you're gonna totally laugh. But
is that from Martin?
Huh?
Is it from Martin?
Yeah.
Okay, see, I knew. I watched that show. A lot of people probably don't know.
Yeah.
I know who Varnell Hill is.
So the backstory of that, we've never talked about that, but the backstory of my Varnell Hill name came from when I was in college. My boy was like, yo, you plan on going to Hollywood, bro, you better not get all Varnell Hill. Like, I was like, I don't know, bro. I don't know, I might. He was like, dude, you know, be dope. You should just go by Varnell Hill. And I was like, yeah, dude, I should just go by Varnell Hill.
Yo, all you kids out there, go look up Varnell Hill or go look up old Martin episodes. We won't blow it for you, but it will make a lot of sense
but
when you
it
look
is
it up.
Literally the funniest episode on Martin ever.
Yes,
I'm a huge Martin fan. Trust me, go Varnell Hill Martin, and you're going to laugh. You're going to die. Watch the full episode. It's 2 episodes. Watch both episodes. It's incredible. But that's the name.
Shout out to Tommy Davidson, too.
Tommy Davidson is hilarious.
Shout out
to him, dude. So my Instagram is at _ Varnell Hill, and pretty much all of my links for all my rest of my social media is on there. You can check it out, but I pretty much use the Instagram one, really.
Hell yeah, man. And we'll be sure to put all the links on the screen and links in the bio. So everyone out there that's listening and watching, please be sure to check it out and do not miss it, man. Especially if you're a fan and follower and a practitioner of our sport, do your part and help support.
For sure.
Hell yeah. So, yo, guys, as always, please be sure to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe for brand new episodes each and every week. Join us every Monday for brand new jam breakdowns and every Friday for brand new JAMCast, interviewing influential members of the movement community like Mr. Yannick, a.k.a. Varnell Hill himself. So as always, guys, I got to give a very special shout out to our guest this week. Thank you so much for coming through, Yannick.
Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
And before you end, I don't want you to end yet. I want to tell you something specifically for you. What you're doing for the community is amazing. You're at what? I don't know. You're almost at 70 episodes.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I
sir.
want you to understand what you're doing for this community is important. Watching what Joe Rogan just did lets me know what you're doing. You're the next person, especially in this world, to be able to get to that position. It's hard to continue having episode after episode after episode after episode. It's incredible what you're doing. I watch it. Thank you for you having me on there, dude. This is incredible. Thank you so much, dude.
Nah, bro, I appreciate that, man. And honestly, it's opened the doors to so many conversations. If I didn't have the JAMCast, I probably would have never had this talk with you. So much love, man. Hell yes, yo. And so, guys, as always, guys, coming through. I'm your host, Travis Wong. Thanks for joining us here on another JAMCast. And until next time, we'll see you all soon. Peace.